one of the most important thing in fashion business today. Not be static and be more innovative.
So I have to ask you a question which is not necessarily politically okay, but I think the audience won't excuse me if I don't ask the question. The recent Amir Khan episode, right? I think it got a few people rattled. It also made Snapdeal say that they do not really subscribe to the whatever. They had their own statements that they put up. You are also celebrity endorsed, and that's one of your three parts of what you do. Does it ever worry you?
Not really, because we are very true to what we are doing as a brand. I think we are making sure that we respect the quality of the product, respect the quality of the service that we offer to the consumers, and also be very good in what we do. Eventually, for a love of a celebrity, somebody will come once, engage into that purchase and walk out, but he may not come back. There have been many celebrity-led brands I've studied deeply, and most of them haven't worked. They've come in like a fad and gone out like a fad. But Being Human is much larger than the celebrity, let me tell you, because the amount of lives it has changed. There are more than 20,000 people who got cataract operations done in the villages who can't see or who are blind, and more than 1,000 kids have been saved due to heart, with what do you call, heart operations, who could not afford. And there's something or the other non-stop going on with Being Human Foundation, which is directly in sync with the brand. And I think it has changed many more lives than, and as a matter of fact, the celebrity who endorses it ran through some kind of a controversy recently. He was convicted and stuff, but we saw a spike in sales. You'll not believe that. So somewhere he's got his own strong fan following. He's almost a cult in terms of a person. So it's not affected. We also carried out an internal survey in all our stores, just to be sure that why is it working and why are we doing well, and what could be the reason, what are the customers saying. And we did a questionnaire with almost 1,000 consumers, which had all sorts of questions. Are you buying this because you love the celebrity, or you buy this? And to our surprise, I think 7 out of 10 people said that they love the brand and what it's doing. And 3 of them said they buy it because they love the celebrity. I think that answers your question.
Fair enough. I think the celebrity loves your brand as much, so it's...
A celebrity can always bring visibility to your brand, and he can push it, but eventually it's the business that you carry out, the product you make, the pricing strategy that you have, and the service you give, and that's going to last.
Perfect.
I'm sure Manish is not complaining about today morning's news in the newspaper. Some of you might have read it. Yeah. But just to come back to your question, I think there's one fundamental difference between brick and mortar retailers and let me call them technology companies. Okay, and which is that online, if you see, most of the big online guys are really technology companies, right? That's their DNA. Most of us brick and mortar retailers, our DNA is the product. And I think, we've covered most of the points. I don't think I have much to add. But I think focus back on what we sell. What does the customer come into? He doesn't come for the ambience. He doesn't come for the technology into your stores. He comes really for the product. And I think romancing that product back again is something which, we can do as brick and mortar retailers. And that's something the technology guys probably it's not core to their DNA. This is in our DNA, and if you do that right, you'll keep having customers. I think what Manish said about getting fast fashion back, is bang on. It's the lowest hanging fruit there available to us. And if you can just get the product thing back in action, is probably where one of the answers lies for us.
So, Professor, do you want to quickly add 2 things that you think brick and mortar retailers need to do?
But I tell a case of the main competitor of Amazon, that is eBay. Many of you know eBay, probably as auction or bid, but 80% of the business of eBay is retail.
Yeah.
What they did in UK, an alliance with Argos, probably you know Argos because he tried to enter also in Far East, doing a very simple thing. Argos decided to sell through the e-commerce part through eBay. So all the Argos electronic appliances, home, on eBay. After a few months, many customers of Argos, they shop through eBay, pick up Thank you. So they decided to give the opportunity at Argos customer to pick up the product in the store, increasing the footfall, increasing the traffic. After 2 months, eBay asked if it was possible to deliver all the eBay products through the Argos store with 450 store in UK. Now there is a corner shop of eBay in the Argos store. Last chapter of the story is that because in the Argos store, obviously, the trucks, they arrive full and they go back empty, they gave the opportunity also to use Argos store to send the product sold on eBay for the eBay sellers. I think that this is a smart way to put together in omni-channel the opportunity of the technology company and the opportunity of the retail and the store company.
It's now open for discussion. There are people who want to ask questions. Check. Okay. And you may need to tell whom you are asking the questions.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's easier, yeah?
So I'll start with a question from Mr. Mukesh. Mr. Mukesh, you started your commentary, your discussion by saying that modern retail has crossed somewhere around 19%, and even in matured market like US, where penetration of internet is very high, the penetration of e-commerce has remained at single digit. But there's a strong belief that India, like US was developed around highways, India will be developed around e-ways and highways. And the penetration of digital platform has been much faster, much stronger and much wider compared to many developed nations. So before modern retail could penetrate in India, so modern retail got good 20 years or 30 years or 40 years in US and developed market to penetrate before online retailing came. And in India, we are seeing that modern retail was just spreading its wing, and then we had 2008 financial crisis, so again it stopped. And by the time they can expand again, we had another challenge in form of online retail. So do you believe that India could be a slightly different experience in terms of penetration of online retail versus offline?
See, the online beginning has been very good. There's no doubt about it. I think the entire story started 3 years back. But if, again, go back to the same question. Look at the mature market. India will still take some time. If you look at one of the biggest online page, Amazon, even today, they are not really profitable. They're almost 30 years old when they started the business. And their total penetration in US market is just 10% of total modern retail trade. Today, I think retail online is about 1% of the total trade?
Yeah, about 1.5%.
So if they can show a substantial growth in terms of percentage, 1 going to 2%, maybe 100% growth, and 2 going to 3%, again can say 50% growth. But over a period of time, the growth has to be something very similar to the way modern trade is going to grow. So if you are looking at even the biggest figure, it'll not, I don't think it's going to cross more than 10%. Even the internet penetration happens to the last person in the country, I don't think it's going to go much more. Another big factor is that the Indian culture is very, very different. The shopping doesn't really happen alone. Most people shop together as a family. Number 3, if you look at, I think Vinay touched upon this, shopping more or going for shopping is not just buying a product. It's also an experience going with the family, spending time together. Today, if you go to a mall, it's not just going for shopping. You may have gone just to eat, or maybe to go to a theater, watch a movie, then you have time and go for shopping. So it's a multi-purpose, not just going for shopping. So if you want to replace shopping from bricks and mortars to online, it really may not happen. In terms of percentage, I think still remain the same, 10% or 90%. And as you can see here, they have been saying that retailers, 10% is the maximum what I've heard so far, but generally people say around 5 to 6%.
Yeah, this gentleman at the back.
Hello. Yeah, my question is for Mohit. Mohit, Mukesh spoke about creating customer experience, And some time back, you also mentioned that you are creating those kind of experiences. Probably you are changing the way your stores used to look. You are changing the displays and everything. Now, I personally feel that the challenge brick and mortar may face is changing the customer experience comes with cost and time. And for retail, which probably may not be the case for click and order. Means they can change the experience overnight or maybe in few days. So how do we take care of this challenge? Means you have any plans for that? Means how you all do that? Means how you tackle this?
I think first of all, you need to understand that that these stores already get a huge chunk of customers. So it's not that footfalls have dried up. In fact, we have actually seen footfalls grow this year. So last year also they have grown, except for the period of August end till let's say November we had a challenge. But overall footfalls have grown. So there's a huge set of customers who are already coming to you. So therefore, ideally you wouldn't want to do things very drastically, okay? You need to be a little careful, a little guided, because today if you look at my stores, I have close to about 30 million consumers walking in, yeah? So I wouldn't want to change something so drastically like what Coke did with the bottle or the flavor in the 80s and it completely bombed. So I don't want to isolate these 30 million. So therefore I would do changes, but I would do changes, let's say I pick up a few stores, pilot it there, see am I getting the kind of response that I want, am I getting the kind of results I want. And that's what we did with our renovation strategy when we started renovating stores. We just renovated 5 stores the first year and we really saw a lot of change. The second set of about 25 stores saw another slight improvement on that and we saw the result and now we are really taking it forward. So I think you need not want to change as fast as maybe others do. Online, they're trying to create a database. Yeah, they're trying to change habits. So for them, sometimes it's imperative that they need to be fast. Can we get faster? We should get faster as brick and mortar, but I don't think we should get too fast either.
One second, I think this gentleman here.
My question is for Mr. Mukesh.
I can't see that.
Sir, will the Amazon and other sites change the price dynamics and bring more competitive pricing for the customer who goes out to shop after checking the prices?
The experience has been generally, I would say till few months back, they used to be at least 20-30% lower than the price of the shelf, what you see in the shop. But this started changing in the past few months. Today, if you see a difference, maybe not more than 5 or 10%. Besides few categories where there could be huge difference because of the model. Maybe some model is gone completely out of the market, you make it at a lower price online. But if otherwise, I think it's not a big difference, maybe 5 to 10%.
Okay.
This gentleman here.
Thank you. I would like to direct my question to Mr. Vinay. So you touched upon unit economics. I was just thinking, a lot of players now, Amazon, Flipkart, what happens, how do things change when the discount thing goes away? Because I'm not sure if it'll really go away completely, because what I heard that Amazon lists over 2 crore products on their website and only 5 lakh are discounted. I mean, more than 97.5% products are not discounted. And I'm sure the 5 lakh products are the most frequented ones. But how do things change? Because unit economics, because the brick and mortar stores also have a lot of rents they need to pay, the real people they need to have, and the user experience all comes at a cost. So how do things change? And on a unit economics level only, once the discount thing subsides and the ride which we are on right now subsides, what's your take?
So it's $1 million question. I mean, I wish I had an answer, Kumar, to this one, but I don't think there is a yes or no kind of an answer to this one. Yes, it is beyond doubt that things will stabilize over a period of time, whether it is maybe in some categories that has already happened, in some categories it is still to happen, maybe fashion will take a little bit longer. yeah, but it will stabilize. And at that stage, you'll be really looking, because, price can never be a differentiator beyond a point in any industry, unless, of course, you are sourcing cheap. That's not the case here, right? So price is going to go away as a differentiator. Convenience will be an angle. And I think my guess is the winner will be somebody who can combine both, which is the benefits of retail, which is romancing the product, selling a great experience, service, and all of that, and combining. So if somebody can do this whole omni-channel piece, as different from multi-channel, not separate channels, but if the customer at some point of time can just forget that, okay, I was buying your brand, I bought one T-shirt on something, I bought foods online, something I bought offline, and if we can reach that stage, that would be the play for the future. But again, it's $1 million question. Tough to answer this one.
This gentleman here. Yeah, just behind you.
Thanks. My question is mainly for Manish and Vinay. In terms of your observation, how has the ticket size been for offline versus online customers? And also in terms of SKUs per ticket, how has that worked out?
In our case, I think the ticket size in the brick and mortar is much higher, because when you walk into the store, you actually experience the product. You have the opportunity to try them out as well. And our salespeople are really driven. They make sure that the ticket size is increased. No, but jokes apart, I think the online model, offline is a better